Have you ever felt like everything in your life was going wrong and no one truly understood you? When my mother told me I would never succeed, my heart shattered. But what she didn't know was that those words were the exact fuel I needed to change my entire life. Nothing could be worse than that, except realizing what truly matters to you and how everything changes from that moment on. My name is Nina, 30 years old, and until 2 years ago, I thought my life was on track. I always stayed in the background, never being the center of attention. While my sister, Emma, always received praise and never made a mistake, I was quietly working to gain approval from my family. But when my mom told me I would never succeed, I couldn't just let it slide. Why was I always overlooked, always the quiet one? Everything changed one night when my mom told me that I would never make it in life, and that was the moment when something in me broke. While everyone else was chasing their dreams, I had always quietly tried to seek attention. But this time, she made a mistake. She had no idea that I was going to take this as a challenge, not just to prove her wrong, but to prove to myself that I could make it on my own. But that night, something inside me shifted. I decided that from now on, I would no longer remain in the shadows. This time, I was going to completely transform my life. What my mom and the rest of the family didn't know was that nothing would stop me. I promised myself that from that moment on, I would make every effort to prove to myself, not anyone else, what I was capable of. A month passed, and after working countless hours on things I had always feared, I finally began to feel the first small successes. The first project I took on was completely different from anything I had done before. Every day, I woke up with only one thought. This time, I will be different than before. I didn't want to prove anything to anyone else. I just wanted to prove it to myself. Challenges were always present. I began to realize that every success comes at a price. Along the way, I faced many financial issues. Some of my colleagues, who had always waited for me to fail, tried to push me out. They would say things like, "You'll never make it." But not only did I ignore their words, I reached a point where nothing could stop me. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like and comment below. Let me know what you think of my journey so far. As time passed, I realized that the real power came from within me. I had managed to overcome every barrier in my path and built a new one for myself. Through this journey, I learned not only about work, but also about life. It taught me that I must always believe in myself and never give up. One day, after a long time, my mom called me again. This time, I wasn't that quiet girl hiding in the shadows anymore. When we talked, she said something that took me back to those tough days. "I think maybe I was wrong. Maybe you really are going to achieve something bigger than we thought." Hearing that from her wasn't a victory for me because I wanted her approval, but because it showed that I had proven to myself that I was capable of much more than I had ever imagined.
By the time I reached this point, I knew that I always needed to find new ways to deal with problems. During this time, I not only realized my own strength, but also discovered new ways to get the attention of people who had previously ignored me. Now, I didn't need to prove anything to anyone. I just wanted to see myself at the top, in the place where I belonged.
A year passed, and I reached a point where nothing could stop my progress. I was able to attract new clients, build strong business relationships, and even receive offers from one of the most reputable companies. These moments proved that with belief in myself and perseverance, anything could be achieved. Now, when I look back at everything, I realized that all the failures and difficulties were actually a part of the path to my success. From the moment my mom told me I would never make it, to today where I'm standing at the peak of success, I've taken every step with confidence. Maybe some people won't understand why I took this path, but the truth is, I always believed in myself, and I always will. Remember, you are the only one who can create your own success.
Sometimes, the biggest victories in life don't come from fighting others. Sometimes, it's just about fighting the doubts within you and proving to yourself that you're capable of anything. I didn't seek revenge when my mother said I would never succeed. What I sought was the power to prove to myself that I could accomplish anything, no matter what. Now, I'm not just successful in my career, I've found the true power within myself. And if you've ever felt overlooked or underestimated, know that your time will come, and when it does, you'll look back and realize that the true value was always within you. Do you agree? Have you ever had a moment where you proved everyone wrong? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's talk about how you overcame the challenges in your own life.